If you're an athlete, I'm pretty sure you've at least seen this picture 1 to 2 times in your life. And the picture I'm talking about is a guy who's taking a bath in all of his college offers. Or in other terms, he's flexing that he has an offer from almost every school in the country. Some people have said and will continue to say that this is being cocky, but I don't think so. If anything, I think it's a motivational picture because he's earned the offers, and I know this motivated at least a couple of kids. Come on now, let's be honest and admit the fact that at one point in our life we wanted to recreate this photo. It's a dope picture, it's iconic, and it shows what will happen if you put in the work. The player in this picture posted this on December 22nd in 2014. Nobody really knew who the guy was in the picture. All everybody was focused on was that it was a cool picture and people wanted to be like him. Growing up, I was one of those kids who screenshotted that picture and kept it in my camera roll because I wanted to recreate it myself. That picture was in 2014 though, but I saw it resurface the other day and it really had me thinking, what happened to the guy in the picture? What college did he decide to go to and what happened after college? I thought it'd be a great and perfect video, so therefore it leaves us with the question today, what really happened to the guy who flexed all of his offers? What's good, y'all? I hope you're having a blessed day. Just wanted to drop by and say we're on the road to 5 million subscribers. So what are you doing? If you're new to the channel, join the family, hit that subscribe button and leave a like for more. Now without further ado, let's get into this story. Okay, first things first, the player who's taking a bath in all these offers goes by the name of Cortez Sapp. Before we get into anything too, I also want to state that this is a football player, not a basketball player. I've done 2 to 3 football stories and videos on my channel, but it's really rare. And even though we're 99% basketball, this photo applies to every athlete. That photo is an athlete's dream, so it somewhat applies to basketball. Either way, we're gonna make a story and video about it. Sapp posted this picture on Twitter and said, quote unquote, drowning in my decisions, top 5 coming soon. The funny thing about this picture is that most people thought it was his idea, but it wasn't. It was his mom's idea. Here's what Sapp had to say about it. It literally was her idea. It wasn't something she pondered over for 3 or 4 hours. It was bam, bam, bam within minutes. He was in that tub and she was putting the mail over him. At the time when he was landing on those offers, he was a 4-star recruit, so we know this guy was good, but just how good was he? Before you get all those offers, there's a backstory to everything, so let's get into that first. He started out and enrolled at a high school in Milton, Georgia as just a sophomore. He was only at the school for just 2 weeks before he beat out a senior for a starting spot. As a sophomore, that's pretty insane. Here's what the defensive coordinator at that high school had to say about him. Even just from that standpoint, when a young man walks in the door and has himself together in that manner, you know he's going to contribute. Also later adding, even as a young player before he was fully developed physically, he was still one of the better athletes on the field and he was smart. He understood things and he was able to learn the system and start to identify things, which allowed him to play fast. I'm going to sum up his high school career really quick. He led his team and was arguably the best player because he had the most tackles on the defensive side of the ball. Not his sophomore year, but his junior and senior season of high school football, that's when he started to get all these offers and everybody was wanting him. He was a 4-star recruit, ranked in the top 250 and was ranked as the 23rd best overall player in Georgia. If that wasn't enough for you, listen to this. He was the 5A Defensive Player of the Year as a senior for his team. If you're from the South, you're going to understand what I'm about to say. If you can get Defensive Player of the Year in Georgia, that's almost the equivalent to getting National Player of the Year. Georgia breeds some dogs out there, and they always have a lot of good recruits. For his recruitment process, we all know how that went. Every school wanted him, and he took a lot of visits to a lot of different schools. To make a long story short though, he committed to Tennessee on January 29th in 2015. And then shortly after, on only February 4th, he signed with the team, and later that summer, he enrolled at the college. Before we go any farther, I just want to say this. I'm a big college football fan, and why in the world, if you're a 4 or 5-star recruit, would you pick Tennessee? At the time when he even picked to go to that school, they weren't even one of the top schools in the country. I'm not going to talk about that too much. I'm not a Tennessee hater, but they're not good, so it didn't make any sense when he could pick any other school that was way better. Even though I personally don't like his decision, it was a good fit and it seemed like the right decision at the time for him. It was relatively close to Georgia, and like I said, Tennessee wasn't really that good, so therefore he could start and get minutes right away. Going into Tennessee, he was projected to be the starting linebacker and make an immediate impact. But however, with all that good stuff being said, this is where our story takes a bad turn. As quickly as he arrived at Tennessee, he got injured in his first season. His first year at Tennessee was a disappointment, not really because of his play, but he wasn't playing that much. He got a stress fracture in his foot, and he also had an injury like that before he even got to Tennessee. To make things even worse, when he was at Tennessee, he also tore one of his ACLs while he was on a kickoff. When he tore his ACL, that was just the third game of the season. So right there we have two instances where his playing time and season got cut short because of injuries. In 2015, as a freshman, he only played in 2 games. And in the following year, for 2016, he only played in 1. He was a 4-star recruit in high school, and in 2 years he only played 3 games, and that's not really all his fault. As an athlete who's had injuries similar to him, I can say they're the worst thing ever. Not only physically do they hurt you, but mentally they destroy your mindset. From a mental standpoint, it's so hard to come back from an injury, especially if you have more than one, because you feel like you want to give up. We still have a long way to go in our story, and it's really sad because he didn't even get a chance to show what he could do. He had a sad case of the injury bug, and I feel for him even more because I went through that stuff. Some people were calling his first 2 years disappointments, but that's hard to even say because he wasn't playing. I can see where they're coming from because yes, they were disappointing because people expected him to produce, but he got hurt, so what do you want the kid to do? It's not like he can go out there with a torn ACL. Flash forward in time to 2017 though, which is his 3rd season, he was healthy and played in 11 games. For a guy coming off of 2 major injuries, he had a decent year. He finished the season with 75 tackles. And even though this is his 3rd year there, technically he was only a sophomore because he got the redshirt because of injuries. He still wasn't good enough and ready enough to go to the NFL, so he came back for his season in 2018. At this point in time in the video, I just want to give you a recap. He's now been at Tennessee for 4 years. Technically he's a junior because he's redshirted, but you get the point. So for the season in 2018, he only appeared in 6 games and finished the season with 29 tackles. I'm gonna be blunt about this, he didn't have a good season and he didn't look like a 4, 5, or even a 3-star recruit. That was his junior season though, remember, so he could have came back for his senior year, dominated, and then go to the NFL. But for some odd reason, I don't know why, he decided to declare for the 2019 NFL Draft. This is arguably one of the dumbest decisions I've ever seen a football player make. He knew he wasn't gonna get drafted, and he really wasn't even healthy enough, so NFL teams weren't even gonna look at him. So why not come back to Tennessee, get healthy, get better, and then get drafted the following season? Doesn't make any sense to me, but hey, he made the decision, so I gotta respect that. I don't have to like his decision to respect that, and that's coming from a man to man. There was absolutely no shot for him getting drafted. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. He spent 4 years in college, and in those 4 years, he didn't have one good year. He only had 1 year with over 50 tackles, and still, that was mediocre and maybe good at best. So of course, you know where this is about to go. He went undrafted. I can't emphasize enough once again at how surprising it was that he even entered the draft because even other people were saying it. His story's not going to end that easy though, and it even gets more interesting after the draft. Shortly after he went undrafted, he announced that on a Saturday night he was going to start his career as an undrafted free agent for the Tennessee Titans. He wound up tweeting out this: "No matter the circumstances, I'm thankful for what God has in store for me. Tennessee is my home. Hashtag tighten up." And that was on April 27th in 2019. Even though he signed an undrafted contract with the Titans, anybody with a brain knew he wasn't going to play for this team. He didn't prove himself in college, so he wasn't even fighting for a roster spot. He was fighting just to stay on the scout team. Ever since 2019, I guess he eventually came to his senses and realized that he was not going to be an NFL football player. What I'm about to tell you, I guarantee you, is going to shock you. As to when I'm currently speaking and up to date on Cortez Cortez Sapp, he is now trying to be a Twitch streamer. You can go on his Twitter, it's dedicated_to work or Cortez Sapp, and he tweets about it all the time. I was scrolling through and it seems like he's pretty dedicated because he tweets about it every day. Going off of what I saw, it looks like he only streams Warzone at the moment. He tweets out every 2 to 3 days his Twitch link, and even on April 18th in 2021, which was only 3 to 4 days ago, he tweeted it out again. Oh yeah, too, I also saw that he's trying to work on YouTube, but it seems like he's more dedicated to Twitch at the moment. And that's the up to date on the guy who flexed or took a bath in all of his offers, whatever you want to call it. This was an interesting one, I think more for myself, because I was curious to see how his life planned out. Or not planned out, played out. You get what I'm trying to say. I do want to say he seems like a great and humble dude. He never had any off the field problems that I saw when doing research for this video, so I'm wishing him the best of luck in his streaming career or whatever he chooses to do. I always love when there's somewhat a good ending to these story videos because it doesn't happen a lot. As long as he's happy though, and it seems like he is happy, that's all that matters. The only sad part is I wish he wouldn't have got hurt so we could really see what he could do at the college level and maybe even the NFL. Another sad case of the injury bug getting to people, and that's one thing with sports, man. Injuries can literally tear down a career. It's unfortunate, but as long as you put God first, everything's gonna work out. I'm very curious, let me know in the comment section if you ever saw that picture before. I know I'm not the only one. But with all that being said, that's gonna wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, hope you guys learned something. If you're new to the channel, what are you doing? Join the family, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 5 million, baby. And as always, let's be greats. I'm out, yeah. Peace.